Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Reaching Your Full Potential Online Tech Summit. My name is Shahid Juma, and I want to welcome you to this summit where top experts share secret tips to stand out from the crowd and how to use technology to be uber successful. Today, I have Quinn Lawson with me and a little bit bio about him. Quinn is the founder of Kwola, an AI developer tool that assists teams with quality assurance by automatically testing their software like an artificial user. This year, Quinn was also a project manager for the Toronto Blockchain Week prior to the COVID disruptions. He is also well versed in many areas of IT, and I'm really honored to have him on here. Quinn, thank you so much for joining.
Hi, how's it going?
Good, thank you. So, Quinn, why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do?
Yeah, so I started 6 months ago working on this new startup. Obviously, you can tell that the world's kind of flipped upside down, but it allowed us to stay focused, and I think I've been more productive than I've ever been through all the trials of launching a new startup company. What we've built is a AI testing tool that helps software developers ship faster code with higher quality.
That's amazing. That's pretty good. So, on that note, why don't you kind of tell us like the journey that you kind of started towards that? Like, how did you start it and some of the struggles that you have had?
Yeah, so I've been working on startups for about the last 10 years. I started just out of school. I went to school out in Victoria, which has a really strong entrepreneur community. And I decided that I wanted to freelance and intern with as many different companies as possible right out of school. And what I wanted to do was figure out the types of industry, the types of problems that I like solving, the types of teams that I wanted to work with. And, uh, and so I've worked with a whole bunch of organizations from coast to coast. And a lot of it's been not all good news. A lot of it's been through struggling and just the classic sort of up and down of entrepreneurship. And I really believe in sharing that story, no matter where you are in the journey, with people that are either trying to get ahead or start something new, or also at a similar stage as me.
Right. No, that's really good. So, based on your Koala, and you mentioned it's an artificial intelligence tool. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about, for those who may not know, like what artificial intelligence is, and like I know it's a broad subject, but kind of like a quick overview, if you can give a quick definition of what that is and how that applies in your tool, and what the difference would be as if you had real users, testers, users.
Yeah, so in a nutshell, what it does is it learns how your program works. So artificial intelligence really is about an algorithm that figures things out as it works. And what we've built is a tool that interacts with software code, and if it triggers new software code, then it gets rewarded. And if it triggers the same software code or code that it's encountered before, then it gets punished. It's called reinforcement learning, and it basically is a way for a piece of code to grow and to learn new functionality.
That's pretty amazing. So, based on this, and especially kind of in your bio, we mentioned about the pre-COVID, you were part of the Toronto blockchain. Based on this as well, too, like kind of how do you adapt and innovate, especially in today's climate?
Yeah, I think that so I myself am relatively new to even the artificial intelligence space. Someone who is more technical than me would have a much better description of how it works than I will. But the thing that I think that I bring to the table is that I ask really good questions. And so I've worked with, at the start you talked about my bio, I
Right.
worked with a blockchain and cryptocurrency company. And that's because I had the courage to be like, I'll figure this out as I go. I will talk to experts and not be afraid to ask them questions. And so I find that having the ability to kind of transplant yourself and be in different spaces and sort of build the airplane as you're falling from the sky type of thing, as people say, is is a good skill set to have.
No, that's good. Definitely 100% right. Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't. I think there's a lot of people that don't look at the parallels to the skills that they have. And I quite often look at even my friends or colleagues, and I'm like, you've worked in this space your life, and propose like you could apply this, like almost like re-engineer what you've been working on into this completely other space. And quite often it has to do with a mindset of wanting to go there and making mistakes or being a novice or a beginner,
Mhm.
that holds people back. It's not actually the hard skill set that they have.
Hmm. Right. No, it's true. Valid point for sure. So I'm going to jump back to your koala, and I really find that interesting, especially you mentioned that how that it reads your software. Does that also apply to like does that apply to any sort of like technology restriction, or is it can it be any sort of software? Is it web? Is it software app?
Browser based. So the way that Qual works is that it intercepts the code as it gets built through the browser, and it basically counts the different code that gets executed through a line counting system. And the AI interacts like an artificial user through any action that's on the front end of the browser. So double clicks, clicks, you can give it usernames or passwords or random letters to put in, and it'll interact with the code. And then as it interacts with the front end, it will understand how the back end is pushing up new code execution. And then as that happens, it'll essentially build a model of the functionality of your software. And then as it encounters bugs, it will surface up those bugs for engineers to be able to fix more easily.
That's pretty neat. So based on like you mentioned that you kind of started this, but obviously your journey through entrepreneurship, and like you mentioned that you come from a background, what are some of the things, if you look back, what are the mistakes you wished you could have avoided?
There's a lot. I think not having a plan has been important, but I also think the most important mistake that I made is that I didn't keep going. Um, and I think that a lot of people give up a little bit too quickly, or myself included. And I've always regretted not seeing through opportunities. I've almost made that decision to just stop doing that and to commit to the things that I'm doing. And even though, because quite often I will work on a project and then I'll hit a roadblock, and rather than seeing through it or being, dealing with the adversity, I find another opportunity. I will also spread myself too thin because I like juggling and I'm really interested in starting new things. And I think that there's a lot of value that doesn't get captured by seeing through some of the things that you're juggling.
Right. That's a good point, especially the juggling aspect of it. I
Yeah.
think we all like guilty of that too, right? Especially
Yeah.
multitasking, right? Like I guess that's
Yeah, I think other than keeping on going, I think also patience is important. I think also like listening to your gut. I think that I'm 32 now, and I think perhaps if younger people are listening, or people who have been in careers that aren't entrepreneurs,
Mhm.
they might not have the guts to know how to listen to them, like what their brain or their heart's telling them.
Right.
And so quite often the mistakes that I've made are not listening to my guts, whether it's working with certain people, or realizing that an opportunity is not the right opportunity, or being too proud about something. At the end of the day, I think what I've realized is that, one, most people don't really care. And two, most people do want to see you succeed, and they're fighting their own battles too.
Right.
And so the best thing that you can do is be a good example and keep driving forward.
Hmm. True. Very valid points for sure. So you kind of mentioned when you were talking that you handle adversity. So how do you handle adversity and doubt?
uh, by doing it again and again, I think. I think that so one thing I did mention too is listening to your gut and to
Right.
like how you're feeling. And I think that I think the best part about handling adversity is being patient with yourself, and being honest with yourself. So if you are making mistakes, like realize that's what you're getting paid to do or not getting paid to do when you're starting something.
Right.
Um, and if you are I think I always go back to thinking about people and my interactions with people, or why did I say that, or why did I react in this situation. And I think that we're all learning, and you just have to be patient with yourself, because being patient gives you space to think about your adversity or the challenge that you're experiencing with a little more distance.
Right.
And the more often you do that, the better equipped you'll be to think more on your feet, or to ultimately make the right decision too.
Mhm. True, true. That's good. That's yeah, that's for sure. So you mentioned that you started 6 months ago on Koala, and I find that really like a neat tool, and I think that's pretty innovative and impressive what you have done. But when you were coming up with the idea, how did you know that was the right idea, like to take it forward?
It really came down to the biggest pain that I think people are trying to solve. I've seen um, there's a lot of pain when it comes to software developers having to fix or maintain versus wanting to build.
Right.
And there's a lot of systems and tools that aren't as good as they could be because of how hard it is to maintain them. And even and also related to that too is just seeing where the world is going. I think it's easy to say now that with COVID and coronavirus that the world relies on digital experiences, but
Right.
even 6 months ago, that wasn't a standard fact as much as people, like it's almost a necessity.
Right.
The government needs to mandate that the digital experiences need to be available. It's
Right.
like food, shelter and internet, right? um, and uh, and so building something that is like a very good infrastructure tool that is a service, from my experience with all of these different companies or different projects that I've worked on, what Koala does fits into a model that I wanted to explore.
Right.
And it's not even that I had the answers and I don't know if it's going to work out, because it's very technical and I don't have a lot of those skills, but it's something that I thought was worth exploring.
Right.
And so far so good.
That's good. No, that's good. You're following your passion, which is good. And like I said, I do find the tool very impressive and pretty cool to discuss about that. So yeah, that's definitely true. I think artificial intelligence in itself is something that is obviously as things go on, as we go move forward, that's something that's going to be I could see that happening a lot in a lot of the tools that we sort of have in our day-to-day applications, right? So definitely in the right direction you're going for sure. So some of the being an entrepreneur, being as well in so many companies as well before, and also your past experience as a project manager, how can one be a good leader, especially when you have a idea or a business that you're building? So
uh, Great question. I think just by learning from what you want to become, I think that uh, I think you have to surround yourself with people that inspire you and force you to be better, or sort of be who you want to be. And I think also that when it comes to leadership, I think that it's a work in progress. and you pay for the rent every day of being a good leader. You can't be like a good leader for a month and then have like a mess up for one day,
Right.
because that's, if you look at the math, that's like one big mess up. It's not the good month of being a leader.
Right.
um, and so a lot of it comes from mistakes. A lot of it comes from being someone that people want to follow. And I think a lot of it has to do with putting other people first too. It's like a reverse pyramid. You're at the bottom with everyone on top of it.
Hmm. Right. No, it's true. That's a good way to describe for sure. So, what is one tip that you can share with us today that if you implement today that you can have success with it?
Curiosity, just asking questions, figuring out what you get interested about and things that you can't stop turning off in your brain. Just follow your curiosity, and then good things will come from it,
Mm-hmm.
because problems become a lot smaller, because challenges become opportunities, and the like light in your eyes kind of affects other people and infects other people too, I think.
Nice. No, that's a good tip for sure. So we're near the end, and I know we talked earlier before about something that you have to offer for our viewers who are watching this.
Yeah, so we are coming out of our stealth essentially with Kwola. We want to offer anyone who's building a startup or has a software product some software testing to be a part of our beta program. We want to build some co-marketing materials and basically share how you build software to our community. So if you're interested in trying out Kwola, give me a call or email me.
Perfect. We'll keep the contact information for you, for anybody that wants, so they can contact you directly. Thank you again, Quinn. Is there anything you want to add to the interview?
No, I think what you're doing is awesome, and just inspiring other people. Being a part of this interview series is great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Good luck with the Koala, and I really look forward to seeing where that takes you. And that's exciting. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks.